Hi, my friends. It's your tour guide to the horror site, me, Preston E. And on this video, we're going to have a look at the 20th year anniversary of Land of the Dead. After 20 years of no Romero zombie movies, the last being Day of the Dead in 1985, George A. Romero came back with guns a-blazing with Land of the Dead. And funnily enough, not ha-ha funny, but peculiarly funny, it is now 20 years since Land of the Dead last came to theaters. Man, I feel old. Land of the Dead is the fourth of what would be 6 of George A. Romero's Living Dead movies, and it deals with the assault of zombies on Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where survivors flee to the Golden Triangle area of beautiful downtown Pittsburgh. This fortified city is ruled by a militant-like government, as it is bordered on 2 sides by rivers and an electric fence on the other side. Outside these city walls, suburban towns are overrun with zombies. The rich and the powerful live in the luxurious Fiddler's Green, while the rest of the population exists in squalor. So typical. Paul Kaufman, played by Dennis Hopper, controls commerce in this zone and owns an armored vehicle known as Dead Reckoning. Dead Reckoning's designer and commander is Riley, played by Simon Baker. Riley has a crew in charge of taking the vehicle to scavenge any food and medical supplies for citizens, as well as luxury items for the better off, like Kaufman. So typical. Riley is joined by his assistant and crack shot partner, Charlie. That is crack shot, not on crack, as far as I know, and he is played by Robert Joy. Charlie is disfigured due to a fire that Riley saved him from before the film's events.
No, Riley likes to be alone. He might take me, because he says having me around is pretty much the same as being alone.
Charlie is a joker and comic relief of sorts in this motley crew, which also consists of Pretty Boy, who's not a boy but a tomboy, the driver, played by Joni Boland, and John Leguizamo as Cholo, a sarcastic and cocky young man, among others. Charlie and his crew discovers how the zombies are becoming more intelligent, particularly one called Big Daddy, played by Eugene Clark. Big Daddy is also fiercely protective of his zombie group, like they are family of his own, and it is showing him is also mournful and vengeful when his zombie buddies are shot by the humans. Big Daddy, it's just fun to say it that way, also finds a machine gun and learns how to shoot. You don't want to mess with Big Daddy. While the rest of the zombie horde is distracted by fireworks, known as sky flowers for some reason in this movie, Big Daddy ain't got time for that crap and tries to snap his zombie buddies out of being mesmerized by the sky flowers, aka fireworks, that are shot from Dead Reckoning to distract the zombies. Riley decides to retire from commanding Dead Reckoning as he is sick and tired of being fenced in. Don't fence Riley in. Riley wishes to leave the city, and he wishes to move north to Canada once his car is repaired. Back in the city, Riley runs into a mini pimp named Chihuahua once he notices his car is missing. While here, he sees a prostitute named Slack. I absolutely love the names of the characters in this movie. And Slack is played by Asia Argento, daughter of Dario Argento, the script consultant to George A. Romero in Dawn of the Dead. And Slack is being forced into a cage while running from 2 zombies who try to kill and eat her for the patrons' entertainment. Typical. Charlie and Riley cut Slack some slack by saving her from the zombies, and Charlie kills Chihuahua, and the 3 of them escape. Slack informs Riley and Charlie that she was ordered to be killed by Kaufman for helping a resistance leader named Mulligan. Meanwhile, back at Fiddler's Green, Cholo is being denied an apartment even though he helped eliminate Kaufman's political enemies. Cholo threatens to destroy Fiddler's Green by commandeering Dead Reckoning, and Riley and his pals are tasked to retrieve it with a $5 million ransom. Riley catches up with Cholo in Dead Reckoning and tries to convince Cholo to come with him to Canada, but Cholo wishes to confront Kaufman instead. Cholo is eventually bitten by a zombie as he goes on this mission, but in quite a twist for these type of movies, Cholo wishes to become one of the undead instead of being shot before he is turned.
I always wanted to see how the other half lives.
Meanwhile, a large group of zombies crosses the river en route to Fiddler's Green and pops out of the water in a scene that to me is reminiscent of Carnival of Souls. Big Daddy and his zombie buddies invade the city as Kaufman tries to flee the scene, but he runs into a zombified Cholo in a parking garage. Big Daddy comes in and kills them both with an exploding propane tank. Man, Big Daddy's the Einstein of zombies, isn't he? Mulligan tells Riley he has rescued most of the poor people, and he and Riley say goodbye to each other. Riley notices Big Daddy and his zombie crew exiting the city, sparing human lives, and Riley decides to spare them too. Riley's group departs on Dead Reckoning, and fireworks, skyflowers, light up the sky. And that, my friends, is Land of the Dead, which was formerly going to be known as Twilight of the Dead, to continue George A. Romero's time theme, along with night, dawn, and day. It was also going to be titled Dead Reckoning as a nod to the fortified vehicle before Land of the Dead was landed on as the eventual title. A prequel to this particular movie was released later that year in a video game known as Land of the Dead: Road to Fiddler's Green. Land of the Dead builds on the legacy of Day of the Dead, as Zombie Bub in that movie was learning things from his former life, like how to shoot. Big Daddy here learns to shoot machine guns and also goes through the motions of pumping gas from his previous life at his old job as a gas station attendant.
It's like they're pretending to be alive. Isn't that what we're doing? Pretending to be alive.
Dennis Hopper plays a great slimy political leader in this film, in a more subtly slimier version of the over-the-top Captain Rhodes from Day of the Dead. And like Captain Rhodes, he is also killed off by a zombie.
Zombies. They creep me out.
The zombies in Land of the Dead are also seen as more sympathetic, much like Bub was in Day of the Dead. Here it goes a step further, as Big Daddy is protective of his zombie group and mournful of them when they get shot in the head, are killed, or is suffering in any way. I believe this may be the first film depicting a zombie mercy killing another zombie, mirroring many scenes of a living person mercy killing another living person who was bit by a zombie to keep them from turning into one. Land of the Dead builds upon days humanizing these zombies as Big Daddy kills off Cholo too when Cholo is a zombie, as he remembers Cholo killing off zombies when Cholo was living. I guess I just like saying Cholo a lot. These zombies are even attempting to play instruments in a scene at a wedding, going terribly wrong, as they sound about like I would playing a brass instrument. I'm more of a percussionist and a drummer myself. Tambourine Zombie is my dog. Land of the Dead, to me, is kind of middle ground for George A. Romero's zombie franchise. It doesn't give me the landmark nostalgic kick of awesomeness that Night, Dawn, and Day of the Dead does, but it is miles ahead to me from what would follow in Diary and Survival of the Dead. But a George A. Romero movie is still top-notch, with Living Dead thrills, chills, and kills regardless, though. And Land of the Dead is still a breezy and quick, entertaining zombie flick that pushes forward George A. Romero's zombie narrative. This film has even further history, with titles being negotiated over, as Romero wanted to call it Dead Reckoning, while 20th Century Fox wanted to call it Night of the Living Dead. Talk about confusing. Or Night of the Living Dead, Dead Reckoning. Land was finally settled upon. This film was Romero's highest budgeted in the series, at $15 to $19 million with Universal Studios. This would be quite the star-studded zombie flick, as George A. Romero typically preferred to use lesser-known stars. We have John Leguizamo in this movie, as well as Dennis Hopper, but we also get some of the lesser-known stars, as George A. Romero preferred that, but I do believe that Universal Studios wanted some that more the public knew. By the way, Tom Savini also appears in this movie as a cool-looking zombie in this film, as does Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright of Shaun of the Dead fame. All the more reason to love Land of the Dead. Well, that about does it for me, fellow Living Dead heads. Thank you so much for watching, and please like, sub, and share. I've been Preston E. Garrison, and I'm out of here.
Trouble? In a world where the dead are returning to life, the word trouble loses much of its meaning.